There are many restaurants and businesses doing the same thing, doing whatever they can to make people feel comfortable. And especially if you're in that vulnerable population of that age group, you got to be careful. You have to reduce the number of places that you go to because you just don't want to get this. And I think our businesses have been really creative through all this.
Well, they have, and they've done a great job. And even at the beginning, when it was just takeout, that was hard for some of them, but they adjusted, and I think then they got creative with that. But I agree with you. I heard you before. I mean, I think as I'm concerned as the weather changes. I know that people are less likely to gather inside when it's more crowded because the benefit of the outside is you got a lot of outside people. And then inside is not as crowded, so people are a little more comfortable. And that changes. I'm afraid that's going to have an impact right now until we see, until something else changes. So,
but I think we are. I think you guys are doing a good job. You see what's going on in Syracuse right now. Syracuse school's not open today. A faculty member has tested positive. But you see what happened at Baldwinsville. So it started with one positive case. Now it's like 80 students and 20 faculty that have all tested positive. So the key is to get in and get that person out of the population.
Yeah, and I think, the Holland Patton example a week ago, even though it ended up closing school for a while because we had difficulty on the contact tracing. But regardless, the school's actions, and quick turnaround really, closed that and did not cause any kind of community spread that, could have been like what you're seeing now in Syracuse and others. And that's really, a testament to what, some of these schools are doing and businesses and everybody is. And once we, the other thing is, we keep stressing it, as we go through these processes, and that's why the tracing is so important. And that's why people have to be forthcoming. Because then we can stem this, even after, sometimes it does spread quicker and depending on where people have been. But if we are able to get to, the root of it, or at least, and the contacts, we can resolve things, get people into quarantine that need to, and get people the information they need to have that have been in contact. And then we don't have, a mass outbreak as the governor's been talking about.
Can you explain the Holland Patton situation? Because I in my mind initially I'm like, this is a person that was politically motivated, whatever, didn't want to share any information with you guys, didn't want to work with you for contact tracing. And then I thought a little deeper into it, and I would imagine who wants to turn all these names over, that those people are now going to be contacted. And so what was the reason? Why wouldn't he work with you? Do you know?
I don't know. I think there were a couple. Actually, there were two initially. There was two individuals that were reluctant on tracing and giving names, and one that has still been a little bit difficult, and we've had to kind of reconnect or reconstruct the puzzle, if you will.
Wow.
Everybody gets wrapped up around, the panic or just, them not telling, I don't know, or, whether it's other beliefs, whether it's, the fact that, I wore the mask, so nobody should be infected, or, I really can't explain or even pinpoint one reason or another. Some have been because of religion, some have been because of just the belief of that this is not as bad as it really is, and others throw the HIPAA thing in, that which doesn't apply when you're doing contact tracing. So I guess we've heard pretty much everything over the last several months about this. But for the great majority of this, everybody's been extremely cooperative when there is a case and when we are doing the contact tracing. So it's but that and the problem with that was, look, we were able to I think we had several cases out of that, over a dozen, and there may still be one or two out there, but. The point is, if we get that information soon enough, as I said, we can resolve some things and put a tamper down on the spread. So that's why it's so important to cooperate when you are a positive, when you're seeing that, I think in the White House, how quickly it can spread, how things move quickly, or this virus moves quickly.
And when we look at this, the reality is, even with a vaccine, it's still going to take a long time for a large enough amount of people to take the vaccine for it to be distributed. It'll start with most likely healthcare and first responders, and then it'll trickle. And I don't know how we're in any different situation come 2021, at least for the first half, it seems.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
How about the first quarter?
Unfortunately, I think the first quarter at least.
Yeah.
And you are talking of millions of vaccines, and then the distribution network. I remember several years ago when we did H1N1 and had to get that again to all the schools, and we set up that, and that's a major undertaking. And then and this one is more intense because we need to get it to everybody, or everybody that was willing. That's
the next thing.
To get it,
yeah.
And that's the next piece.
Right.
And then what happens in those cases. So
and it's become political on top of all of that.
And whether or not the governor puts restrictions in that says you have to have a vaccine.
Right.
Who knows what's next in that regard. So.
Okay. Andrew.
Two different questions from two different listeners. One being, how often do you yourself get tested? I think all county employees do once a week, right?
No, actually, we did all of our rank and file initially. When things started breaking out, and made it voluntary. After that, if they wanted, we allow them the time to go and get tested. All of my department heads and key essential people, if you will, that are working, in this, throughout, the 7 days, and myself included, every 2 weeks we go.
Okay, and the other the other question is, a woman called and said she was at a supermarket. A man was not wearing a mask. She said to the cashier, "Aren't you going to say something?" And the cashier said, "We are not able to. We don't have any way of enforcing it."
If that's the case, they should contact our office, let us know.
Yeah.
But that's not, we've gone through that from the beginning. That's not accurate. They do have the ability to enforce that.
And I just go the other way. When, if somebody's yelling and breathing, I just go the other way.
I've said something to a couple people, but,
Well, you're the county executive. I mean, you can, hello, I'm the county executive. I can't say that. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to the other aisle. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Manaski.
So there's still an ongoing issue with nursing home deaths in New York State. I saw Senator Jim Tedisco was again, I missed what the advisory was, but he's really been pushing this, that they want to subpoena state health officials. They want to find out the true number of nursing home deaths in the state. But you guys track that, right? Don't all the
we do? We do, and I believe every health department does too. And we get into this, this quandary of, well, is it a nursing home death? If they went to the hospital and then died there, but but where did they get COVID? And it's real simple. I mean, we have tracked it in our regard that when they have been identified as a nursing home patient with COVID in the nursing home, and then should they expire there, or should they over time in a hospital, it's a nursing home related death. It's not any different. I don't think that any other way of determining, unfortunately, this is a hard subject of determining not just the cause of death, but where the death occurred and where the outbreak of what caused the death occurred.
Yeah,
in this case, I mean, this is real. That's why I know that the state has been, we don't have that. Well, that's not true. They do have that because we have.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have it. The local leaders are really the ones who track this stuff.
Right. We've been tracking it since, that was one of the things we did, put, up right from the very beginning, and we even identify, in our data on a daily basis in terms of the hospitalizations, which ones are nursing home related.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be like
it's
saying
easy for us to track that.
So nursing home related would be someone came from a nursing home, not necessarily that they died at the nursing home, but they came from the nursing home.
But the way we track it is the nursing home,
That's their residence.
They were positive for COVID at the nursing home.
Okay. All right.
So I just think
that's where the positive test was recorded. And then now some have not had to go to the hospital and have recovered. Obviously others have been expired or gone to the hospital and then expired. Some have gone to the hospital and gone back to the nursing home. So, and there have been some asymptomatic in the nursing homes too. So, it's run the same gamut, but it's easy to track in that regard. And and I recognize that in New York City, I mean, you're talking thousands, but at the same time, the nursing home knows themselves.
Right,
who's been positive.
Yeah.
I mean, and so it's not a hard number to get to.
It's just funny. It's like someone from Massachusetts comes here, something terrible happens, and they die, and you go, they didn't live in Massachusetts. They were here when they died.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It just doesn't make sense.
And I want to just final question to ask about about sales tax and revenues. Are we bouncing back? Because it does seem like there's a lot of activity out there. Yet, just when you think there's a lot of activity, you go to a place like Sangertown and you see 3/4 of the parking lot is empty.
It's empty, yeah. Well, we're bouncing back a little bit. I mean, and we did bounce back because the summer. There's two big parts, and sales tax is always tough to track because of when it comes in,
right,
from when it was collected and all that. But usually April and October, there's two big payments in that, or at least there's the jump because it's what they call the reconcile matter or payments where they collect. The quarterly payments come in for those who pay quarterly, for those who pay monthly. So there's a little bump. So we saw an increase in our October 1st payment this quarter. I mean, we're still cumulatively down considerably in sales tax, but we saw an increase, over last year. Now, the point is we're due a payment today. So when because there's two payments in a month. So I want to see what today says, and that'll give us an indication because we've been running pretty consistently 10% down.
Yeah.
This one was up about 20, almost 30%, I think, but it's hard to just judge by that. The benefit was a great summer, and people did spend money and recreate the best they could, and the outdoor dining and some of the other stuff, and so we'll see. But and we're still in a real dark zone there.
And I'm assuming a federal stimulus package for before Christmas would certainly come in handy. I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
The sooner the better. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's going to really hinge on the election, and either scenario is not good. If Trump wins, then I guess there's that possibility, or not, because he's they've all they've never been able to agree.
Mm-hmm.
On that. If Biden wins, you got to wait until next year or whatever. So I mean, who knows? And it's going to be a tough cycle.